Hi, this is Chris with CodeChris.com. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, all that fun stuff. Anyways, this is for Goals Update 2017, hashtag Goals Update 2017. This is for February 2007. If you're new to this, allow me to explain very quickly. All that's happening is at the end of each month, what I'm going to do is review the goals that I've set out in place for the entire year and where they currently are, what my progress is, and all that stuff. Now, these were not 2017 goals in the sense that I'm like, all right, these are the things I want to accomplish for 2017. They're more along the lines of I started doing this sort of documentation in 2017 because I figured it was just appropriate as far as the timeline goes. It's easier to just say, January. These goals that I'm working on, they've actually been worked on before 2017. If I'm not moving very quick, if I'm moving extremely quick, well, then maybe you know why, because they haven't been done just for this year. They've been over previous months and in some cases going into a year. Let's begin. So this is the month that I'm going to summarize as the month of rest. For a lot of people, this tends to be the month where their 2017 New Year's Eve resolution goals tend to start declining. People stop going to the gym as much. So if you were at a packed gym, don't worry, it's about to get a lot more free. Actually, this is the end of the month, so be March by the time this is out. So yeah, the gym is definitely free again. Things are back to normal, and for the most part, people forgot whatever they are. For me, it was a little bit different. This is for me actually the month of rest. It isn't so much that I've been doing this for 1 month in 2017. It's because I've been doing it for several months. Yeah, I've just been tired. So we have a baby on the way. Exciting. We have it's gonna be a boy. We had a gender reveal, and we basically have other things that we're kind of looking at and options as far as possibly moving and other. So the point is, we've had other things that are occupying and more important to some of these things. For various just not sleeping well reasons, it takes a toll on you over time. Waking up early, going to bed late, and just have your brain always absorbing, always learning, and just constantly getting fed new information. Eventually it does wear on you. Hang on. So yeah, that's what's going on with that. I feel like I get inconsistent lighting. Is that just me, or like it just depends on when you're shooting today or for the day, because you get inconsistent lighting. Sometimes it's bright, sometimes whatever, and then you gotta do post color correction, and I don't really care right now. I'm just trying to get Ben out there, and anyways. So February, like I said, is summarized as the month of rest. Just been super tired. At the same time, you can't just put total pause and break on everything. One thing that I've learned from marathon training is like, or just running in general. So if you're a runner, man, you understand this. If you're a runner, you do cross country, you've done any sort of distance mileage, you quickly understand that if you stop for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, right? It becomes four, it becomes five, it becomes a week, it just takes that much more effort to get back into it. The best thing to do is just build a habit, build consistency, right? This way, when you are tired or you are whatever, you can just go through the grind and whatever. But in my situation, I was literally exhausted. I was not absorbing new material. I was not bringing in new information. And at a certain point, I had to make some adjustments. And so the most simplest and obvious adjustment is I'm trying to learn new things. I'm trying to get all this new information in, and I could tell I was making silly mistakes on simple projects, and I don't want that to affect my work. So first thing you gotta do, make sure you're not making mistakes at work. So I have to like start sleeping. I just have to make sure that when I'm at my job, I am 100% there, available, and doing the best that I can. And if that just means that I need to get more sleep, it's just another adjustment that we can go ahead and look into. If I live a little bit closer, maybe I can wake up a little bit later, or whatever the case is. But so I need to make sure that's addressed, right? Priorities. It's such a weird thing that I have to like go through and explain, like, oh no, man. Like, yeah, you need to constantly be working, you need to be hungry, you need to always be trying to better yourself, blah blah blah. And yeah, absolutely. But at a certain point, if you are just doing too much, if you're collapsing, if your body is trying to communicate something to you, listen. I mean, that's all you can do. And so I've taken that approach, and this is definitely the month of rest. And it's going to happen to you too. Like if you think that, well, Chris, you're just not trying hard enough. I promise you that if you're doing enough of these things, it's gonna wear on you one way or another. It might not be month 2 or 3 or 4, but within a certain amount of time, it might take a year, but you will get tired. And it's reminding me so much of a few moments during my education where I hit a wall. So this is more of a physical wall than a mental wall. But and I just had to make a video for that, which I'm gonna end up doing after I record this one. Let's go ahead and begin and just review very quickly what the progress was for February, because it's not a lot. No, it is not. All right, so here are my goals. We've kind of been through this before, so I'm just gonna kind of go a little bit quicker than I probably did before. So progress on the hackathon? No, nope. Buddy's been busy. He's got his own things going on for work, so we haven't really had time to really set that up. So wallets, like I said, I've kind of put that one on hold just a little bit because I want to prioritize the skill set. One thing that kind of came across to my mind in February was that I'm just trying to do everything, trying to spread everything out. And so, in fact, with these videos, one of the things that I did, this is a total tangent, total side tangent. But one of the things I try to do is like, okay, these videos, this whatever, I need to produce more. I want to produce more, but I'm just so busy. I know I'll use my commute. And I've been trying to use my commute for a while. And what I would do is I would use my phone and just record audio. I did like a few podcasts. The thing is, I really was not a big fan of the audio quality. And I really wanted to do this setup where I was just a one take thing. Was not that easy. And I said, okay, well, let's just go ahead and get a simple mic, like a cheap mic, right? I mean, we're talking like a $6-7 mic, just something so it's a little bit closer to my mouth. It can back off some of the background sound, and that'll help out. And maybe I'll do some little stuff in post. Correction, I didn't want to do anything in post. I did not want to do post. I just wanted to bring it in, drop it in, and move on, because it's just about the content right now, and not so much like the glitter and the glam, making things really cool and whatever, and doing things like, crosscuts and edit and color correction, here's whatever. So yeah, can you tell I'm tired? You can probably tell I'm a little bit tired. But I got the microphone, and actually one of the things I wanted to do was actually just start spitting some of these guys out, some of this audio. So I've been recording it, listening to it, and the thing is that the audio quality isn't quite perfect. It hits these high marks, and so I'm still kind of messing around and tweaking it to figure out what works best as far as the placement of the mic and what I'll have to do in the post-production process to kind of filter out some of that background sound, because apparently the expressway I go on is it's a good mic in the sense that it picks up clean sound, but even if it's like this far away from me, my voice apparently is hitting the high peaks. So I'm using an app to sort of lower it. If you know a good audio app, an audio recorder app that would do the job, that would be awesome. Even if it's a few bucks, that's fine. But I'm not going to subscribe to any sort of app. Like, I found this great one. It was called Parrot. And I'm like, this is fantastic. It's got good quality. I can do a little bit of the whatever up front. Yeah, to move the files the way I want them to, the fastest, easiest way, you require to be a subscriber. I was like, subscriber? I'm not that much into audio, man. I'm just looking for something basic, right? So if you know something, please let me know in the comments. That would be exceedingly helpful, as I think I can start producing a lot more stuff. So what I'm doing right now, the way I'm treating it, is I'm actually recording in the car my microphone and just doing practice sessions of whatever the topic is. At the very least, I kind of have an idea of what I might say, or things that I'll just totally avoid that sound boring, or who cares about that topic. And then also it gives me an idea for how much I can actually speak about that topic. If it's something that I only talk about for 30 seconds, then I'm like, well, that's about it. It's just kind of like the one-off thought I had. I didn't know if I was going to have any more. Nope, I don't. So, look at that. It's a 1-minute podcast. So there's that. Anyways, all right, let's get back into this. So February, let's go back to I have no screen. Oh, there it is. Okay, great. So yeah, the wallets, back to the wallets. I kind of put those on hold just for a little bit. What I wanted to do, and one of the things I thought about, was just kind of refocusing all the efforts and energy back into the current skill set I have, and that can start making money back the fastest. And the wallets are on hold just a little bit, but they're actually going to be probably one of the next things that are attacked, since I think what I'm gonna just what I no, correction what I am doing is I'm going to be focusing more on the skill set I have for work and making that more valuable, because I can obviously bring in the most income right away with whatever job I currently have. And the current job I currently have, and that we'll go ahead and get to. So, Android app. Oh, yes. The Android app. One of the things that I thought would be fantastic, and I really, really wanted to get it done, was there's a dude I follow called Slide Nerd, and he does tons of Android videos on YouTube for free. And I like his pacing. He's fast. He doesn't really like slow down. For some people, he's too quick, but I actually really enjoy it. He does a good job explaining why things work the way they do. Anyways, he has a Udemy course, basically that you build an app within 16 hours. It's going to be more than that, but you get the idea. The concept is that you build one app, and during that entire process, you kind of learn all the different parts and components of Android and staging and how it all works together, and all of that. And it is a good tutorial. The thing is that some kind of one of the issues with Udemy is he's using for the database management realm.io, or sorry, realm.io. He's using Realm instead of SQLite. And so what I want to do is I want to be consistent with what he's going through. So I want to use Realm, and because it's outdated, I have to go to the Realm website and see why is it outdated, why is it not working, like what's plugged in now, what's not a plugin anymore, and all this stuff, and all the while still trying to learn Android correctly. So, and I've kind of been pinging him. He hasn't given me an answer back on I'm stuck at. So until then, I've kind of hit a wall, and this happens all the time. Actually, enough that I'm gonna mention a video and blah blah blah. Let's just keep dropping videos. I'm gonna throw up. But yeah, so what ends up happening a lot during your education for coding or just whatever it is you're learning, you're gonna hit these walls. And the important thing is when you hit the wall, not to just be like, all right, you know what, I'm done with this. I don't want to anymore. I quit. Right? That's not actually what happens a lot of times. Is that people. They get to a point where things just get escalating harder and harder, and then there's like a solid wall, and they think that's just the limit of what they can learn. That's just the limit of what they can achieve based on what they can do on their own. You end up hitting this wall numerous times, and so I definitely have before, and this is just one of those walls where it's annoyance, because the reason why I call it a wall is you flat out stop making progress. You are completely stuck. You don't know why things aren't working the way they should. You don't understand what's going on underneath the hood of the car, and you are at a complete loss. And when that happens, and grinding, you just gotta keep with it and chiseling away little clues until it finally makes sense, and then boom, you're back on progress, and you're just escalating again, back up on your journey. So right now I've hit that wall with this, and because I'm not getting any information back, I'm going to go ahead and have to keep trying to figure it out with the time that I have, and trying to kind of figure out, that's kind of one thing that sucks about when you hit this wall is you're kind of making progress, and your time is limited, and then you've hit this wall, and so now you've got that time you dedicated for, Android, well, instead of actually learning more things about Android or whatever, you're kind of like debugging this small thing just to start moving. I make this joke all the time where, great, it took me like an hour to set everything up. I've got my project files downloaded, and I've got this set up, and this version's up to date, and whatever. Now I can begin. And it's been an hour, right? And that hour is a lot of time for me. So moving on, blah 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 blah. All right, what do we got here? Okay, story. So the next thing is story. So once I get to the app and really understand how Android works correctly, I'll go ahead and the next thing I want to build is a story app. I have another idea for another app, which is and then I have another idea for a thing that I want to build that I think would be pretty easy to go ahead and go about. And I have a friend who's more into economics and stuff, and I'm gonna have him discuss this with me. But I had an idea, and for brownie points, and that's just what I'm calling it. I'll go into it later, but yeah. So I'm putting that on the board so I can remember it. All right, get a pay raise. So the one thing that I probably have made the most progress on is actually um, going about bettering myself for the company that I currently work at. And it's as stupid as just becoming more comfortable with PHP and WordPress and the functionality that goes on with those guys. I've been working on it for a while, but at the same time, I am jumping back and forth between a bunch of different things, so it's not 100%. And the thing is, between every project you get to work on, some are functions driven by plugins, some are uh, plugins related issues, and when you're debugging, you're not always debugging everything, so it's kind of all over the place as far as that goes. So when you're learning the new language, when you're learning the new program, when you're learning the new whatever, it can kind of get a little bit confusing, or you don't get exposed to the same thing enough that you're actually learning it. You're kind of like, that's right. So you have to, there's some repetition involved when you're learning, right? So organization, boy, I gotta tell you, this once again, month of rest. Long story short, have not messed very much with organization. Producing more video content, trying to release at one minimum weekly. So that is staying steady. And one thing that's actually probably that I have made progress on, and it has been improving, is you can actually see here. I have started modifying the thumbnails that I'm doing. So if you look at some of the older ones. One of the things I started doing is just modifying things like the text, so now they're much bigger, it's fatter. And also doing things with the logos, trying to simplify things down a little bit for me, so I don't have to use as many pictures and uniqueness, whatever, and all that stuff. So that's what I'm thinking that's going as far as that progress goes. But I am definitely doing at least one minimum weekly, which was the initial goal. So that's good progress right there. And what I also done is, this is even before that, but one of the things I also did was I started putting things like in the bank. So I had a video or two prepped ready ahead of time, so I could go ahead and do that. I also threw together a quick motion graphics like little intro at the beginning of this one. So that little, I just did that I had some time in the morning, so I'm like, all right, cool. Let me just put something different together so it's not just a slide. I don't think it does very much, but it just makes things a little more lively, and I would like to introduce more of that kind of stuff, but it does take time, and really at this moment, I think producing content is a little bit more important than all the cool, fancy glitter, glam, and that kind of stuff. As far as making progress towards 100 subscribers, that's one of my goals for 2017, and I am making progress. The subscribers keep rising. It's not anything significant. Like, I'm not gaining like 1,000 subscribers or hundreds of subscribers, but my goal was I think a reasonable goal, which is 100 subscribers, and I think as long as I keep producing steady content, I should be able to reach that goal. In January, I hit 68. And in February, I'm now at 80. So that's pretty good progress as far as I'm concerned. It's in the positive range versus the negative range. So I think that's really all it comes down to. I think there's a couple things I have found, which is the consistency of the videos and also the content as far. Here's a mixed thing I found. So I can make videos that appeal to more and have more broad general topics, such as what's the best programming language to learn first. And that's kind of some of the stuff I did in my earlier initial videos when I first started my channel. And those kind of videos get a lot more views, but they also don't get like a ton of subscribers. But also that was earlier, and I think I was a little more camera shy, so kind of a trade-off. I'll probably update those and go ahead and see if that actually changes anything. But one of the things that I've actually noticed in the last couple of videos I've done is I'm being just a little bit more specific and direct with just, I think, far more interesting topics that I really would like to share, and questions or points of view that I think I was kind of looking for, right? Like, is front end dying? That was like a major concern that I had kind of like moving into this field, and I did want to hear about people who were changing their career. So I started talking a little bit more about that and those kinds of things. If it's okay for you to talk, if you're not quite yet a professional, what skill level do you need in order to qualify that? The problem with those kinds of videos is it's a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, the traffic that goes to those videos is definitely it's definitely organic. It could be browsed, but I think, well, one, the retention time on those videos is significantly higher. And I think it's just because it's just more personal, unique, and it's more interesting that the retention time on those is much more higher. And ultimately, the retention time is what you're shooting for, right? I mean, if I got like a 10-20 minute video, you want the retention time to be as high as possible versus a bunch of views. Views are nothing. Views are cheap. It's really about essentially that retention time and getting people to like it enough to subscribe and having enough videos. Typically, the way the rule works with me personally is if I find a video that I like and I see they have a follow-up video with an interesting topic, I'll click on that. I would say I give them about 2-3 videos that I've navigated through, and if I like 2 or 3 of them, then I tend to subscribe. So I think that I'll end up liking a majority of them. I think right now I'm kind of changing that ratio where a majority of my videos I was very camera shy and not quite clear as far as being able to talk to the camera very quickly, versus now I'm much more comfortable with it. I can talk about it much more. The cameras, I cut out a lot of the ahs, filler space, and the pacing's much overall quicker. So it's something to go ahead and think about, and that's kind of where I'm moving. So last thing, VR education, as I kind of mentioned before, that's still on hold. I just putting that on hold for the moment because it'll be a little bit more time. We're looking at C# for Unity and C++ just for overall video game stuff. But I think what'll end up happening is it'll eventually be C# because I know my background is in animation and I can already do a bunch of that. So going to Unity just kind of makes sense as far as all that goes. But I think the first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to get more familiar with Android, since that's the platform I think I'm going to gravitate towards eventually, and then that VR side of things will ultimately be in either Android because of Google Daydream, and that could be the case, or I might go more of the PC route. I'm still more hesitant on the PC route just because there's more upfront cost with it, with all the additional gears, etc., and things are a little tight at the moment, so we're probably not going to be splurging for a Rift or even Vive. Even if it's still kind of early, right? So like there's some news going on with the Oculus where they might not have the funding anymore. One of the divisions from Facebook for the Oculus is kind of being shut down, and parts of it. I didn't read the whole thing, but it's a mixed bag. And because it is so early in the game, even going to the Vive, which is being very well received and I think has a lot of great potential, still kind of hesitant on that. And it's much easier and cheaper for entry to go into, I think, the Android, because everybody has a phone already, and for experimentation purposes and learning it purposes, it'd be cheap, faster, simpler, and we can kind of get that started. So okay, so that pretty much covers February as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, it was the month of rest, so not as much progress as in January, or probably things are about to get really crazy as things get closer to delivery date. But let me know what your thoughts are for February. If you're making any progress, that's #GoalsUpdate2017. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and have a nice day.